TikToks
Benny,
and celebration posts and T-shirts made
Benny,
celebrating this travesty. There is a fundamental difference of those who glorify death on the left, and it is
Benny,
demonic, it's sick, and it's dark, and it needs to be.
All right, but
it needs to be
I know,
disavowed.
Benny, I hear you.
Hey guys, so Benny Johnson appeared on Cuomo's show to discuss Charlie Kirk's murder and to discuss sort of the reactions on the left to it and what might have led up to the murder. And Cuomo tries to sort of both sides this thing, you know, there are bad people on both sides and we just have to move forward and condemn it all and yada yada. And Benny Johnson does not put up with that. He says, no, there's specifically a rash of calls to violence from the left that we've seen against the right in recent years, and this is the problem. This is what we need to crack down on. I think he's 100% right, but let's watch their debate.
Is the easy way out for MSNBC. But Benny, here's the one thing. I don't really care how we got here so much. There is a lot of blame to go around. I do not see you guys as victims. You give as good as you get. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of exaggeration. It is all hate for profit on the fringe of this battling binary political system. My question is, my question is now what?
Charlie Kirk has never advocated. Charlie Kirk has never advocated violence ever. Charlie Kirk was only
I'm not saying he did.
A nonviolent, peaceful debater. He went into places where he knew he was hated in order to engage.
I agree.
Kindly and humanly
that
with people.
he was not about violence.
For you to say that it's the same thing.
Oh, hold on.
It's not, Chris.
Hold on. I'm not talking about it with Charlie. Benny, don't play games with me. I'm giving you latitude because you deserve it, because this was your friend and this is scary and it hurts and it could have just as easily been you.
The dehumanization is wrong. It's wrong. And
there's no question. But Benny,
you'll never be able to chew me out, Chris, because I'll never dehumanize.
Benny,
if I hear that Joe Biden gets a terminal cancer diagnosis, I'll say a prayer for him. I'll say that I hope he lives the rest of his days painless. That's exactly what I said, and every person that I know and respect, and I know them all in my ecosystem, said the same thing. Not a single one of us celebrated. Not a single one of us celebrated Joe Biden's terminal cancer diagnosis. Now, I can show you.
And I think that that is the critical distinction here, because when someone dies that we, conservatives in general, don't like very much, say if something happened to Ilhan Omar, I would never celebrate that. But you see people actually jubilant at the fact that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Cuomo says, I don't care how we got here. Well, how are you going to create any sort of solution if you don't look at the problem? And the only way to understand the problem is to understand how it originated. Now, left-wing terrorism in America is actually nothing new. I mean, you had the Weather Underground in the 1970s. They were prolific, and you had other left-wing terrorist paramilitary organizations. The FBI documented 3,000 bombings in 1970 alone. Now, by the 1980s, you didn't see much of that anymore. You didn't really see that in the 90s or the 2000s either, that sort of domestic terrorism bombing campaign. And I don't think it's because, you know, the government cracked down on these people and there was this amazing response from the intelligence agencies or from the executive branch or whatever. I think it was because the left won. And what they realized was, hey, we don't actually have to do this anymore because we've already captured all the institutions. We have these former radicals and we're going to turn them into university professors. We're going to turn them into, you know, your experts. We are going to seed Hollywood with directors and writers who promulgate our beliefs. And so I say former radicals, but no, they were still radicals. They just wore the disguises of sort of neutral experts who are going to shepherd the American people in the right direction. But I don't think Cuomo wants to look at any of that because he might have to do some, you know, condemnation of his side, of the Democrats.
A endless series of TikToks and celebration posts and T-shirts made celebrating this travesty. There is a fundamental difference of those who glorify death on the left, and it is demonic, it's sick, and it's dark, and it needs to be.
All right, but
it needs to be disavowed.
I hear you. But here's what I'm saying. again, don't make it like I'm coming at Charlie Kirk, okay? We both know that is not fair and it is not true. And,
well, don't make a moral equivalency between Charlie Kirk and Matthew Dowd.
I'm not making a morally equivalence at all. I never even said that, Benny. I'm telling you, you're a little triggered right now, okay? I am not blaming Charlie for what he said. Did Charlie say things that he knew were provocative, that some people absolutely take as racist and divisive and wrong? 100%. He and I disagreed all the time about things. I'm saying it doesn't matter because murder is never high ground, period. It doesn't matter what Charlie said to me. What I'm saying is there's plenty of blame to go around about how we got here. My concern...
I mean, there is just not. Look, and I think Benny is going to talk about this in a moment, but look at the reaction to the many attempts on Donald Trump's life. Leftists were only sad that the, attempted assassins missed him. And this was a totally common sentiment. You could hear people on cable news joking about this. You could hear them joking about deposing him in violent ways and saying he's a threat to our democracy and he's saying he's, if Donald Trump is elected, people will die. The left has put life or death stakes on political discussion. And I don't think that it's a coincidence, and I don't think that it's surprising that there are people who take them seriously and say, well, if this is life and death, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do something horrible.
Will anything change for the better? I don't believe that's going to happen. But what do you think?
Well, yes, the corporate media ecosystem should stop calling people Nazi, Hitler, and fascist. They should stop naming just political movements.
So wait a minute. So you want to censor things, Benny?
You should stop using terms like that because that's not what's happening.
But you can't.
These people.
But you
Trump
can't make
Hitler.
people say or not say things.
Chris, if
I'm
you
not
don't
saying I agree with the assessment.
Chris, if you don't
I don't use that analogy, but you can't tell somebody they can't say it, Benny.
Chris, after President Trump ate a bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania, President Trump barely survived that assassin's bullet. There were Hollywood celebrities. There were major musical acts. There was a constant series of TikToks and tweets about how that shooter needed to go to target practice. We needed to get better aim.
Yes.
We need to find better shooters. That was something constantly happening. If you don't see that as a major problem, if you can't disavow that,
I do.
Which we must disavow it, and not
I don't disavow it. I don't disavow it because that assumes I'm part of some code. I don't have to disavow it because I don't own it, Benny. These people are just as bad as here's the thing, though. I just think the only difference is the color of the jerseys.
Okay, I don't know if Cuomo is being intentionally dense or what, because the right just does not react this way. I mean, a lot of people have said this, but if someone as prominent as Charlie Kirk, but on the left, were shot and killed in the manner that he was, there would be riots. I mean, American cities have burned for less. They've burned for George Floyd. And Benny isn't necessarily calling for, top-down government censorship, but there is a sort of cultural censorship which is appropriate. So we can say, as a culture, that wishing death on somebody or celebrating their death is totally unacceptable. And if you do these things, then you will no longer be employed here. You will no longer have a cable news show. And that seems like a totally reasonable standard to me. In fact, it's probably the standard that we had until not so long ago. And we've also seen similar sort of impositions, cultural impositions, from the left in recent years. Of course, their impositions, in my opinion, are stupid and unreasonable. So, for instance, if you don't subscribe to gender ideology or racial grievance, whatever, if you don't take the knee and disavow your white privilege, then You won't have many friends in academia. It's going to be pretty difficult to get a job at Harvard if you hold certain political beliefs. But I appreciate Benny's argument here because this is really not a time to say, well, both sides have some problems. No, let's concentrate on the people that are actually calling for violence and are actually celebrating this. And sorry, Cuomo, we are going to look at how we got here because it's important. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.